feel very comfortable saying that Howard Lutnick is a pathological liar who is enabling the most egregious cover-up in American history.
I feel compelled to have to come out and clean up and correct some of the statements that the Democrats made. I couldn't believe as I was getting updates of what they were saying. And I hope that when you get the transcripts, you fact check them on what they say. This is a habit of the Democrats on this committee coming out, telling you all stuff that was said that was not said.
My source tonight was among the lawmakers in the room today, Democratic Congresswoman Yasamin Ansari of Arizona. And thank you for being here. I mean, you heard Chairman Comer there. You said Howard Lutnick is a pathological liar. Why?
Thanks, Caitlin. You just showed a clip of Howard Lutnick from the podcast last year where he very forcefully says that he thought Jeffrey Epstein was disgusting and that him and his wife agreed that he would never see him again or have a personal or professional relationship. We grilled him today on that. We went line by line, like over the transcript from that podcast. And what was so jarring was that the secretary doubled down and tried to say that he was not lying in that podcast. He really was trying to redefine what he meant when he said, you know, I would never have this relationship. He kept saying, I, as a man, would never again be in a room with Howard Lutnick. So trying to say that he meant by himself, then of course we know that in 2012, he took his entire family to Jeffrey Epstein's island. I then asked him about whether or not he knew about the sweetheart deal in 2008 and the many allegations against Epstein, saying that he was a child abuser. Howard Lutnick tried to tell me that he had never heard of those things back in 2012. He had no idea. To me, as a woman, I was the only female member of Congress who took part in the transcribed interviews today. I found that appalling. I mean, I was a child at the time when this happened, and I remember hearing about Jeffrey Epstein and what he was accused of, and then, of course, what he got the sweetheart plea deal for, which was still solicitation of a minor. So I do hope the only thing I would agree with Chairman Comer on there is that I do hope Americans read the interview and read what happened today. It's very disappointing that they won't be able to see the video like they saw with the Clintons.
Did Howard Lutnick say anything else about that visit to Jeffrey Epstein's island?
He just repeated the same lines, that it was, you know, very short, that he kept repeating that his family was there, his staff was there. The line that he actually repeated, I will have to count. It felt to me like 20 or 30 times, that the interactions he's ever had with Epstein, the several that he's had, were meaningless and inconsequential. That's what he said repeatedly. But to me, I mean, this all just comes back to the fact that he did lie to the American people very blatantly. And then today to say that, to try to change the definition of words, I mean, it is so black and white. You said you never saw this person again. You were so disgusted by him in 2005. Your wife was so uncomfortable with him. But then you took your wife to his island just 7 years later. None of it makes sense.
You know, this will be a transcript that we'll see or we'll be able to read. Chairman Comer said that's because it was a voluntary interview from Howard Lutnick. But, you know, when you're reading something and seeing something, it's sometimes has a different interpretation. Do you think there's anything that people won't be able to glean from the transcript that happened in the room?
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I mean, I think the defensiveness, the body language, all of that won't be seen. But I still actually do think that reading the back and forth will be very revealing in and of itself, because it's just so baffling. Like the way he tries to get out. If I were him and all of this had come to light, I don't understand why you don't just admit that you were lying. But he refused to do that, and he tried to say he didn't lie. So I still highly recommend every American who cares about justice for the victims here reads this. And I think that the secretary should resign and that we need to actually bring him back again in the future.
Congresswoman Yasamin Ansari, we will obviously all be reading that transcript. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.